Hi, it's your $2 Tuesday movie critic here again for another round of Oscar nominations for 2025. So I saw a lot of good movies. I saw a lot of movies where I was like, why is this Oscar nominated? And I saw some movies where like I thought they were going to be bad, but they were actually pretty good. So it was a big mix. And I appreciate that because for a few years, or at least two years straight, it seemed like the movies were not going to get better. They've gotten a bit better, but I've seen what I consider millennial type movies, and I'll explain that as we go on. But so I'm going to get started with our movies for Oscar nominations 2025. So first up, we have the actor in a supporting role. So the five nominations are Yura Burisov for Anora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. So I got to see all five of these movies, and let me know what you think and if you agree with me or disagree. All right, so for Yura Burisov, for Anora. So he did a lot with very little talking. He seemed like the only one there with a conscience and good manners, to include Anora, or Annie as she called herself in the movie. In a way, he was needed for the storyline because he was the moral compass. But on the other hand, he mainly did what he was told. So the storyline would have go on with him or without him. So for that purpose, I don't think he was that much of a good person in the supporting role. Do I think he should have got a nomination? For sure. But should he win? No. Not in my for my consideration. Okay, so then we have Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. He plays Benji Kaplan, cousin to David. David describes Benji as this person with loads of charisma whom people just levitate towards. I saw his character as more abrasive, who just wasn't afraid to talk to anyone. Then you realize he is afraid of being and feeling alone. So it wasn't about necessarily charisma. Yeah, I didn't see any charisma going on there. That was just me. All right, so the other movie is Complete Unknown, and the nomination for Best Actor in a Supporting Role goes to Edward Norton. Now, I want to preface this by saying I love Edward Norton as an actor. He is just one of those actors that can not change his face in any way, but somehow by the character he's playing, he almost looks like a different person. He is an excellent actor. I don't know if he's a method actor or not. I hadn't taken a deep dive into what he does, but I can tell you this: he is one of my favorites. Not just in this nomination, but just one of my favorite male actors as a whole. So in this movie, A Complete Unknown, he plays Pete Seeger, a very famous folk artist that helped Bob Dylan get his start. I liked him in this movie, even though I thought he looked more like Mr. Rogers. He represented so many things to Dylan's character in this movie. I don't know enough about the real Seeger to know if Edward Norton did a good job of imitating him, but he and Chalamet played really well off of each other, especially as their dynamics began to change over the years. His part was very pinnacle to the story. However, his character didn't hold any mystery. He never changed. The story just changed around him. He was pretty boring compared to Guy Pearce's character in The Brutalist. The next nomination, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist. Okay, so he plays Harrison Lee Van Buren. Let's try that again. So Guy Pearce plays Harrison Lee Van Buren Sr., a wealthy industrialist who seems inspired by Laszlo's work. And of course, Laszlo is played by Adrian Brody. I like how Pearce acts out this man, so you're never sure if he is a friend or foe of Laszlo. Then, when things progress, his actions prove his character. So there was a bit of mystery there with this character, as opposed to Edward Norton's character in A Complete Unknown. Alright, so then we have Jeremy Strong in The Apprentice. Um, he plays Roy Cohn, who makes a very impactful impression at the very beginning of the movie. His eyes were so intense and way more intimidating than his words. His character as Roy Cohn had so much chemistry with the character of Donald Trump. It's like you could see in his eyes and whole being when he realized Trump had surpassed him. So yeah, for me, this was the best character, Jeremy Strong, and I just want to go on record saying Guy Pearce and Jeremy Strong really do the best at adding to their storylines. Even though Pearce's character was more brutal, no pun intended, I believe Strong did the better job. Oscars would probably choose Culkin or Norton. Culkin because he's been on the winning streak for this nomination or for this title. But I honestly don't know why he's winning. And I don't think it has anything to do with him being Macaulay Culkin's brother or anything like that. I just think that people maybe like him because the character, even the movie itself, isn't that great. It kind of reminds me what I was telling you guys before about millennial movies, where the millennial movies are these movies like if you've ever watched American Idol before, where in the beginning the singer starts off and sounds really good, and somewhere in the middle they seem like to either be pitchy as Randy Jackson used to say, or just stumble through the words or whatever, but at the very end they give this beautiful long note and everybody stands up and applauds them because they did such a good job on that very end, even though the middle part was pretty awful and the beginning was okay. So that's what I think of millennial movies now. And when I say millennial movies, or even Generation Z, I think it's more Generation Z actually. It are the movies where they're trying to attract the Generation Z audience, which is not very about sitting watching movies necessarily, and definitely not long movies. But if they are, let's give them what they want. Just a little bit of this and that, and a whole lot of nothing, and then a little poignant part in the middle for you boomers and Generation Xers and maybe millennials. So I think the millennials / Generation Z movies, that's what we're seeing now, and that's what I saw in very few of these movies that I saw. That one, the Anora and A Real Pain, that's definitely what I saw in those movies. But as we keep going forward, I'll talk more about it. But as I said, my pick is for Jeremy Strong. I don't think he's going to get chosen simply because it's a Trump movie and they haven't mentioned anything about that movie since it started, just because, the environment we're in. And I don't think that they're going to pick Guy Pearce either, because they really haven't talked about him. But I think he should win it. And Culkin will probably win it, or Norton, even though they haven't really been talking about Norton at all either. So it'll probably go to Culkin. Alright, that's my pick. Let me know what you think below the screen. Alright, take care, and I will see you next time.